All right, welcome back to the show, the Pixels and Panels podcast. This is episode 5. I am Aaron, your host, and tonight we are descending into nightmares on the Pixels and Panels podcast. I have a guest this week to talk about a pretty big DC book. Speaking of nightmares, let me introduce you to Mr. Ilya Tabarovskiy.
Very well done, Aaron. Very well done. Most people usually butcher one name or the other.
Yeah. Well, I knew I was going to get the first one. Actually, I never say your last name, so I was kind of worried about that. But I just did my best and went for it.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and thank you for having me on your show.
Yes. So, Ilya, I wanted to get you on for a few reasons. Number one, you being a fairly big gamer, you've been playing some games lately, and we also read the same.
Yes.
Yeah, and we also read the same book for this week, and we're going to get to the book lastly, but I want to start off with what you sipping on, my friend.
I've actually got a big pot of tea here, some Earl Grey tea with a little bit of honey.
Okay.
And, I'm keeping myself hydrated because I'm suspecting that tonight's podcast will be then followed up by a lot of drinking at our local watering hole.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about with that. Let's jump into. Let's start off with some of the news I wanted to talk about, Ilya, because it's I don't know. I just, as I was bemoaning over the last few shows, there really hasn't been any like huge news that I've really like felt about talking about video game or comics wise.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a stale bit there towards the end of the year, beginning of this year.
Yeah, basically the time that I started the show, there really hasn't been any good news, so it's been kind of depressing to like start off with a news topic every week.
So here we go with the news again. There's nothing. Moving on.
Well, no, actually, I mean, this is like kind of big comics news because I would say it is big comics news, but really like it's something that's been happening over and over again, which is Marvel relaunching their line. So it's basically old news at this point.
It is. Well, it's just like they saw what DC did after the last relaunch, which was what?
Rebirth.
Rebirth.
Yeah.
And that was the follow-up to 52, and 52 was shit. Like, we can all agree that, yes, there were some great stories that came out of it, but overall, as a reboot, 52 sucked.
Well, would you say, wait, would you say that because of by the end of the new 52, it was shit, or you just didn't like it from the beginning?
I liked some of the things that they did with it and how they delved into, rebuilding the characters. But the way that they rebuilt some characters, it's like they took the schematics and went, nah, this used to work. We're going to try something new.
Mm-hmm.
And it failed. Like Superman was the biggest one. The new 52 Superman, I mean, I wanted to hurt somebody and beat them over the head with that book because what are you doing? You are not depowering the Superman. That is not a thing, okay?
Well, that was definitely not one of the higher rated titles. I think both of those books. I mean, I think they kind of improved in quality over time, but I remember reading reviews of the Superman titles when the new 52 launched, and it was definitely not up there with the best titles. And right. Hey, by the way, thanks for asking what I'm sipping on, Ilya.
Wait, I know it's a Bullet Bourbon.
Actually, not this week. I had a very, very heavy drinking weekend last weekend. So I'm taking it easy this week.
So you're having a beer
on the drinking. I am drinking the Nectar of the Gods black coffee.
Oh, okay.
I'm sipping on.
There you go.
Yeah. It was a busy weekend. I went to the Kings game out here in LA, and it was an afternoon game, and I just decided to keep going right from the Kings game.
Let your hair down and just go wild.
Yep. So it was a fun day, but I was definitely hurting on Sunday, and Actually, Sunday was fun. I got rid of my hangover by playing softball, and but now I'm just sore everywhere.
Oh,
So
perfect.
yeah, so and I've been going to I've been working out like actually the last couple of days too. So because I promised my trainer that I would go to his boot camp every day this week. So I basically got myself really really sore in softball, and you know how like when you hurt yourself in working out or doing a sport or something, like you really go hard, it's never the day after, it's
Oh, it's
always
2 days.
2 days
Two
after
days.
that's
Yep.
the
Two
worst.
days.
Yep.
It's always
um
it's always fun that level of like comfort you get that next day. You're like, yeah, man, I put this heavy day into the gym. I don't even feel that bad today. And
right.
then you wake up the following day after that and going, God damn it, where did that truck come from and hit me?
Yeah.
God.
It was just, oh my god, I was at boot camp today, and I was so limited, like I could just barely move, but the whole time I was just like, gonna get through this class, gonna do it.
Well, some of the most famous and empowering words I ever heard, and it has stuck by me, was actually from Al Bundy from
Okay.
Married with Children,
Yeah.
because he's actually a very big Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. I think he's got a black belt either under the Gracies or the Machados, one of them. And I was actually inside my old martial arts studio, and I was doing stretches, and I was reading this interview, and he says, look, sometimes after 3-4 hours on set and shoots from days before, you're so exhausted you don't want to go, but as long as you get yourself through the door, you're good, because once you're there you can't get out. Like, there's no way you're just gonna be like, well, I'm here, I'm gonna leave. No, no, no. Once you're there, you'll put the work in.
Yeah, no, you're right. It really, the hardest part is just the first step of getting out the door. I don't know how that relates to the new 52, but that was a relaunch that had a lot of acclaim like a few years ago. Rebirth was really kind of streamlining what the well, it
It
was
was basically for
rejiggering
the
what the new
good, good and the
52
bad.
did.
Well, no,
Well, hold on. It was rejiggering what the new 52 did by bringing in a lot of the old elements that a lot of the classic fans were missing, and it's been widely received as a good thing
yeah,
so
no,
far.
Rebirth is fantastic.
Yeah.
And going back
Oh,
to how this started was Marvel saw this and they tried to do a reboot, and that's where you got the like Riri Thomas, the Iron Man. You have Doom now
uh,
being Iron Man. So they try to revamp it to bring in all these new readers from the ages of what, let's say, 9 to, I don't know, 18, by instilling these new characters and hopefully making them longtime fans. But what they did is they destroyed character, or not destroyed, changed characters that you just can't mess with.
yeah. They tried to kind of replace some of the classic iterations of the characters with these new characters, and I've always had the opinion that you should just make different characters. You don't need to make Iron Man a black female teenager. Um,
Just
you could just
get
make another character.
right.
You can just make another character, and I mean, I guess they kind of did. I mean, for a while there, like she was kind of like, I guess, in the spotlight as Iron Man. Um, but Tony is coming back, and I'm sure that she'll
Okay,
stay
fine. What
around
about the
too.
Amadeus Cho? Like, and here's the
Well,
thing.
I don't know. Amadeus Cho for me is different because he's been in the book for a long, like he's been in Greg Pak's Hulk for a long, long time, and that
Right.
feels kind of natural to me that he would like eventually kind of take over for a little while as the Hulk.
I don't know. I think that with Amadeus Cho, there was so much more potential there to do so many other things. We could have gone down the Reed Richards kind of path and made them this super genius that kind of provides a glue maybe to the superheroes, or he's like a base command. You didn't need
Yeah.
to turn him into the Hulk.
Well, it's just, I mean, I saw that kind of as like, this is one phase, and once Bruce Banner is back as the Hulk, I'm sure that like Amadeus will move into more of like a support role or something in the universe. But it was just, he was taking the spotlight for a little while. But to respond to what you're saying about that, like this being the counter to DC's launch, um, Actually, it was actually because Marvel's been doing these relaunches for like years now, like every 6 months, it seems like. They've been doing these mini relaunches, and the one that they did a relaunch to that kind of countered DC's Rebirth was that Marvel Legacy relaunch, and that was them trying to bring back like a lot of the classic characters and kind of shift the spotlight away from like these replacement characters that had replaced the main heroes.
Right.
And here's the thing, so as far as my comics reading habits lately have been, I've been so focused on DC and I've been digging what DC has been doing since Rebirth that I haven't really made a lot of time for Marvel comics. Basically, I'm just really behind on Marvel. So I don't even know how good of a relaunch Legacy really was.
Well, it wasn't that. Well, maybe for you, you haven't had the time. For me, they just haven't given me a reason. Like, they haven't made me go, oh my God, this is something that I want to read. And the most recent thing that was the biggest letdown is Secret Wars, or Secret Wars 2. I mean, that was just a blunderbuss.
Wait. You mean Jonathan Hickman's? Okay, because that was the last good thing from Marvel that I read.
Sorry, Civil War 2.
Civil War. I was gonna say, dude, don't talk shit on the Secret Wars. That was the last thing from Marvel that I actually like legit enjoyed.
No, I'm talking about Civil War 2 and having a Hydra and then God.
So wait, what you're saying is you weren't attracted to them renumbering all of their issues to the original numbering? That wasn't a reason for you to come back?
No.
Shocking. No, I saw when they did that. I actually was like, I was kind of fine with it because I always like when they renumber some of the really classic titles because I have like long runs of those. So it's nice that like I can just like add those into the
collection, right?
The collection, but yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Here's what I think they should do. I think they should always have the original numbering in the top corner, like just kind of as a secondary number, like where they used to have this in like the early 2000s. And then you can do your relaunch with your number 1 and number 2 of like whatever big story arc you're doing.
Or just drop that in the title. Like, be like Superman saves the world 1 and then like dash 10. And then you'll know that this entire story is, a 10-issue run. And then you can, like you said, keep the original number up in the corner somewhere.
Well, yeah, you could just have the original. Yeah, you could have the original numbers somewhere. Just to, I don't know. It does like give the book like some legacy, but also it just have it where it's not like front and center, so people aren't like turned off by like, oh, this is issue 702. But whatever.
They have a starting point, is what you're saying.
Yeah. But whatever. Like so. Getting back to Marvel's big relaunch, okay, we're shifting, we're all over the place here. So their big relaunch this time. Let's go through some of these because I want to know whether any of this stuff excites you. Okay, so far we have. I'm gonna just read a bunch of the titles that they've announced, and I want you to tell me what you think of some of these. So, all right, I'm gonna start with the biggest because. This is the one, by the way, that I'm probably most excited about. But it's Avengers #1 by Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness.
Yes, definitely excited.
Yeah. So like if you're as someone who's going out and getting some books, like you just tell me, like, are you excited to go out and get this book?
Yes, definitely. I mean, here's the thing: these relaunches that is. Good, bad, or it's a fresh start. So I always give them, a fresh look, see what they're going with and what they're doing, and kind of just go in it with my eyes closed in a sense, with no preconceived notions.
Yeah, but also it's Jason freaking Aaron. Of course, you're going to give it a try.
Yeah.
And he's doing Avengers. I mean, yeah. Apparently, he wrote a story. He wrote the Legacy #1 like one shot. Mm-hmm. That kind of like has kicked off the last relaunch, and I actually haven't read that yet, but apparently there is like he introduced these prehistoric Avengers, which I guess he is finally going to get followed up on in this book. So that sounds interesting. And like I said, since it's Jason Aaron, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And then just moving on, okay, we got Venom #1 by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. Any thoughts on that at all?
Do we know who's going to be Venom? Or are we going to go?
Actually,
Eddie Brock,
oh,
or
you
are
know
we
what?
gonna
I think it is Eddie Brock. I think it's back to being Eddie Brock.
Then I am for it.
Oh, really? Okay.
I am, and I am, but I still kind of want them to keep a little of that backstory of the symbiotes. I kind of liked that how they touched on that when Thompson actually went to the planet of the symbiotes, and they explained how Venom's not actually a bad person, or the symbiote's not actually bad.
When Flash Thompson was Venom.
Yes.
Okay. Was that was the Rick Remender run, right? Is that Rick Remender?
Right, and then it was that, and then he jumped onto Guardians of the Galaxy after that and became.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of him. Well, I love that issue of Amazing Spider-Man where Flash Thompson had lost his legs in I think the Iraq War, and so he came back as a very, very different character.
Oh yeah,
and I thought it was kind of cool.
Disgruntled, hocking up pills. It was great.
Yeah, so I thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was cool how they tied him in with the symbiote.
Well, I feel like also it was great for us fans that have been around for a long time, because I know as a kid of the 90s, I grew up with not only the comic books of Spider-Man, but I also grew up with the TV show. And, watching Flash Thompson bully Peter Parker and play this jock, whatnot, this, person that we put on a pedestal in a sense. And then flash forward 10, 15 years, 20 years, and he comes back as this, like, depraved, gritty, PTSD soldier. It's kind of fun. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's cool character development. All right, so this guy Donny Cates, apparently he's one of Marvel's newer like big time writers. I actually haven't read anything that he's done yet, and Ryan Stegman I like as an artist. So I got to be honest though, I probably won't be in on this book just because I don't know. I just don't typically buy Venom the series, so unless I hear it's really, really good, I'll probably just take a rain check on that one.
Well, it's definitely one of those, like, I'll pick up the first couple issues to see, like I said, what's happening.
Yeah.
And then if it punches me in the face and I'm blown out of the water, then yeah, I'll start picking it up. But definitely not
on the regular.
Kind of,
yeah, see, I'm more of the opposite. Like, unless it's a book that I've got just all the time. I typically will like wait and see if it's good and then get the collection. All right, let's move on. So then we also have Black Panther #1, which is the previous writer Ta-Nehisi Coates, and this time it's Daniel Acuna on art. I actually have the first 12 issues of the last Black Panther comic, and I have not read a single one, so I can't even comment on his writing in him writing Black Panther. Did you read any of the last series?
I have not. I think, but I also think that with how everything's going because of the Black Panther movie and the kind of push this character has gotten, this might be definitely a title, maybe not off the bat, but definitely something I will pick up along the lines and I will again glance over.
I think you should try the last series because that was the one that got a lot of acclaim.
Okay.
And I don't know if it got acclaim for it being an amazing story or if it was just the the panache that the writer brought, since he was this this big columnist that he was kind of a non-comics guy, but he kind of brought a lot of non-comics people, the interest of them into the comics world. So all right, moving on. Let's keep going through because we got a whole list here. Immortal Hulk #1.
Nope.
Now, did you? Now, I had no idea this book was happening. I guess so. So it is Bruce Banner again. Supposedly he died, I guess, in Civil War II, but he's back now. No idea how or why, but he's back. Actually,
dies in comic books.
Actually, the why is apparently the why of him coming back is so they can make Hulk a horror comic, because based on this description, they are turning Hulk into a horror comic, and
like a Swamp Thing.
I don't
Werewolf
know.
kind of shtick?
I don't know, but I literally read a description that was selling the book as a horror comic. So I guess we'll see.
I mean, he'll throw him into a fresh staple of enemies and allies because
here's the concept. Actually, the concept was he's Banner by day, and then he dies. Or wait, he dies and then he comes back as the Hulk. That's I think that's the concept. So it's kind of like a Werewolf by Night situation a little bit.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm probably gonna pass on that as well, unless I hear something amazing about it. All right, moving on. Doctor Strange #1. This is by Mark Waid and Jesus Saez, who is actually a really, really solid artist who I like a lot.
I'm not a big Doctor Strange fan on his own.
Mm-hmm. Did you read any of Jason Aaron's run?
I did, but it was one of those things where, I'd read an issue and it'd be good, but I'd really have no motivation to come back and read more, and then, a couple of days down the line, come back and read another one. But it wasn't just like, I have to get to the next issue. I want to know what's going on. It was just like, okay, cool. Next.
It was a very, as it should be, it was a very weird book. And
yes.
I was definitely into it.
I definitely enjoyed, I will say I did enjoy them diving into the origins of magic and how there's a cost for using magic. And
I thought,
it did dive into a bit of a LSD trippy kind of. Then the art was fantastic. I'll give you that. The art
was great. See, the thing about Doctor Strange for me is I don't feel the need to constantly read a Doctor Strange book. Like once in a while, like when if a Jason Aaron jumps on or writes Doctor Strange, I'm kind of like, I'm interested. It's kind of the same as Ghost Rider.
But it's not the character that's making you interested. It's the writer.
It's more the creative team. Like I like the character fine, but it's just not a character that I like really feel the need to read month in, month out.
Well, he's a character that there's a few of them in my head that they're like Celestials to me. Like they're these great, amazing, cool, flipping characters, and I love them to pieces. But for me, they're background. And Doctor Strange has always been that like background pop in when we need super magical something to save our butts in a pinch.
Yeah.
Or be that kind of Yoda-esque guru that goes, well, okay, let's figure out what we can do and we'll tap into this magic power and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Never been this like that's the guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm like I said, I like to once in a while pop into a Doctor Strange book, and I actually read Mark Waid's miniseries from years back now, and that was decent. But I don't really feel a huge need to read this one. I guess the concept is Doctor Strange in space. He's
oh good lord,
he's going to space.
Like as soon as you said Doctor Strange in space, I was like, no.
Yeah, so he lost like his arcane power on Earth, so he's going to space to somehow recover it or something. So
my God,
that's the concept. I don't know. It could be. I mean, hey, it could be good. I don't. I mean, Mark Waid's a really solid writer sometimes, so it could be good, but we'll see. Next is Jason Aaron continuing his Thor run with another Thor restart. This time it is actually the male Thor, aka real Thor.
Yeah.
And he's got on the cover he's got a metal arm, so I guess he's tying that back. I mean, this whole run has been one long run.
It is.
So he's tying stuff back to the very first arc of like old Thor with one arm and blah blah blah. So he just continued the story, and Mike Del Mundo is on art, And so
Are they gonna bring in the whole Thor is not worthy anymore? Or are they
no, I
gonna
think that's
kind of
over.
sweep
Like
that
I'm
under the rug?
behind on Thor. Like honestly, and this is not because they made her a chick. It's really not. I promise. I'm just really behind on Thor, and I was getting it in trade. I started getting it in trade, and I think I'm like 5 trades behind now.
I was just never interested with Jane Foster being Thor, and when they started doing the Thor Odin's son,
Yeah, Thor the Unworthy.
yeah, the Unworthy, that was
Mm-hmm.
great. I liked that. And I actually liked a lot of the Beta Ray Bill stuff, and I really liked the. I don't know if you've actually gotten up to this point where
I don't
he.
think I have. If it's anything with Jane Foster besides her having cancer in that one issue, then no, I haven't.
Deal with some spoilers here, so spoiler alert for you kids out there listening, and Aaron, you can just.
Oh wait, are you gonna spoil? No, no, no! Don't spoil Thor for me. Seriously, don't spoil Thor.
It's not exactly a spoiler per se, but okay.
What
All
is
right.
it?
It's just a moment that he had with Beta Ray Bill and whatnot. I'm not.
Okay, yeah. Well, go ahead. Go ahead. Actually, go ahead. That's fine.
No, he was given the chance to actually get the hammer of Ultimate Thor.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I knew about that.
Okay, all right. So not spoiling it for you.
Yeah.
And I love the part how he was just like, "That's not my hammer. That's not right. I'm not doing it. I want my
Yeah.
hammer."
Well,
So
it
I'm
looks
kind of excited.
like actually based on the cover, it looks like he has several hammers. So I don't know what's going on.
Hmm.
But anyways, yeah, he's just continuing his long ranging saga at this point. So
Yep.
that's Jason Aaron and Mike Del Mundo, who is an amazing artist. So I'm definitely in for that. But I think I'll still probably just keep getting it in trade because that's one of those series that I want to have on my bookshelf collected at the end of the day. So I'm probably just going to do that. Next, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp #1. This is a mini-series. It's a 5-issue mini-series. It's also written by Mark Waid. Pencils by Javier Garron.
This sounds like something they're going to do around the time the movie drops at the end of the year.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely, yeah, because this comes out in June. So isn't the movie coming out in the middle of the year? Like June, July, something like that?
I don't remember if it's summer or if it's wintertime. I don't remember.
Yeah, I actually saw a trailer for it. Did you see the trailer?
I did.
What do you think?
I mean,
were you a fan of the first one?
I was. I loved him. He's great.
Yeah.
He's a direct line in my funny bone. Also, what's the name of the guy that stole basically the funny guy?
Michael Pena?
Yeah, Michael Pena was great. I could not stop laughing.
Yeah, that movie was way better than it should have been, in my opinion. So I'm excited about the sequel. But they definitely went out of their way to show how much of a doofus Scott is and how much of a apparently raging badass the Wasp is. So
hey, you know what? I've got a small little crush on Evangeline Lilly, so she can wasp me.
All right. Well, so are you interested at all in this series?
No.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
It's a tie into the movie, so I'm just going to see the movie.
Well, no, it's not, but I mean, it's starring the characters from the movie, but it's in the Marvel universe.
It is, but
it's not like a movie adaptation.
Right. But you know what I mean. It's going to be one of those like,
yeah,
we're releasing it because the movie's coming out. We need some more notoriety and blah blah blah, and so pass.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. All right, next, Tony Stark, Iron Man #1. Yes. Now this is Dan Slott, who's coming over from Amazing Spider-Man. We'll get down to Amazing Spider-Man, the new creative team, in a second. But this is him coming over and writing a character. It seems like he only writes like 1 or 2 characters at a time, unlike somebody like Bendis. So he's basically moving from Spider-Man and taking over Iron Man. And now, I was reading an interview with him about it, and apparently he was really adamant that everything that's been happening to Tony is going to play into his run. Like he's not disregarding continuity, and you can jump on here. It's a good jumping on point, but he is going to touch on stuff that has happened in the past with Tony. So,
oh God, okay. If we turn Tony from an AI into a robot, I'm going to backhand somebody at Marvel in the face.
oh yeah, I don't. Yeah, see, I don't even know what's.
How do you do it? How
Because
do you take?
he died, right? And
Yeah,
then he.
uploaded his consciousness
Uh-huh.
into a supercomputer, and he became Riri's AI. He was the
Oh, okay. So that's how they did it with her, huh?
yeah. Well, no, not that. That took a while because at first, after he uploaded his consciousness, he had to deal with Doom, and Doom was Iron Man, and Tony was his AI. I feel like he's
Mm-hmm.
everybody's AI now. He's like the Pepper Potts of Iron
Well,
Man suits now.
it seems like Tony's back in flesh and blood. So I don't know how
Well, I
that
mean,
has
I'm definitely
happened,
picking this
but
up. This is definitely what I'm picking up. Definitely what I'm reading.
okay. So
Definitely
you're
something I want to.
intrigued.
I just want to know how they give him an organic body back because my
Yeah.
boy's gone. So
Yeah, I'm thinking about see, I haven't read Iron Man in single issues since Matt Fraction's run on Iron Man like years ago.
I was going to say that's a little while ago, but
That's a while ago, yeah. So I may give it a try though, just because it's a good jumping on point with a new creative team, and I have really enjoyed Dan Slott's Iron Man or Amazing Spider-Man for the last like
well,
decade, basically.
that's the other thing I was going to touch up on. Because he's coming over from Spider-Man, which is such a large character that you need somebody to focus on them solely and be good at it. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
now that he's coming over to somebody like Iron Man, who's just as big, if not bigger, than Spidey. Arguable.
Oh, play. Well, you're just saying that because of the movies, dude. I mean, like comics wise, Spider-Man's way bigger of a character than Iron Man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's. It also depends on what age we're talking to, and there's
Well,
a
we're
lot of
talking about the
people.
comics, and
No. I know, and that's what I'm saying. You know, us old farts, we grew up with Spidey more than we did with Iron Man. But these new kids, because of the movies, they've
yeah,
been picking up more of the Iron Man issues than they have the Spideys. Because let's all be honest, aside from the last Spider-Man movie and Civil War, Spider-Man's been shit. Toby
uh,
sucked, and so did Garfield.
yeah. Well, I don't know if the kids are picking up any issues these days, but they're, Marvel's always going to try and put out a Iron Man book with a good creative team. I think nowadays, just because of the popularity from the movies.
Yes, definitely. So definitely down for this.
Okay, yeah, I think I am too. And then we have Captain America #1, also by Tanashi Coates, and art by Lionel Yu.
Not a big Cap reader unless it's Avengers.
Yeah, I haven't read Cap since Brubaker, and I'm kind of okay with keeping it that way. That's another character that if
And
he,
I'm still getting the bad taste of Civil War out of my mouth too.
yeah,
So I need to let that fade for a while before I can even look at the
yeah,
again.
I stayed away from Nick Spencer's run completely, and I did not read Secret Empire, so
You're a smart man.
Yeah, this one was fun. It's funny you say that. Chris Williams last week was really high on. He was actually high on Secret Empire and Spencer's run. So,
I need to get his head checked.
I think I'm more in your camp though, as far as whether I would like it. So I'm probably gonna stay away from this as well.
Well, here's and just to quickly throw this out there, the biggest problem with that whole thing is it's like Marvel decided to not try. Like they had a story, and yes, potentially it could have been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to not just be like, okay, so this is going to happen, and then that's going to happen. And somebody was like, well, how are we going to explain it? And they're like, meh, just throw some comic book bullshit into it. Like the way that they structured it, they were just pulling shit out of their asses. You know, they're like, oh, okay, well, Cap's going to come back because, he wasn't actually transformed. Cap had this whole other fucking Cap somewhere in the distant universe.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't read it. I heard enough things to stay away. Yeah, so I'm probably not going to try out this issue. Although Coates was on record saying that this was an interesting character for him to write as a black guy who is kind of like, politically thinks a certain way. He kind of wanted to get out of his headspace and kind of write this character through like a different lens. which actually is I don't know, kind of interests me, like, if he's going to take that approach. But I think it's one that I'll sit back and wait and hear if it's good or not, and then maybe give it a try, because I like Cap, but like I said, I'm more of a Cap reader when it's a creative team I really like. In stark contrast to that, a character that I always seem to buy, no matter who the creative team is, that would be Amazing Spider-Man #1. And this is a perfect case of I am still going to buy this book because it is the Amazing Spider-Man, even though it's written by Nick Spencer, who I've really never found a book that he's done that I've really, really liked, that I've really enjoyed. Right. But I just feel like since it's Spider-Man, it's going to be enough to get me to read it and probably, enjoy it to a certain degree. That's just one of those characters, man, that it really doesn't matter who writes it. Like, I can enjoy Spider-Man just about no matter what. Just about.
What's the jump-off point that they're going to be looking at? Are they going to do Peter in high school? Are they going to go college?
No. It's just continuing from where Slott left off. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that here's the thing. I'm behind on Amazing Spider-Man. And I know Peter was a CEO of Parker Industries and all of that. I'm pretty sure they've reset that to him being, penniless and tripping over his own feet, trying to juggle his responsibilities in superhero life. So I'm sure
great responsibility.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll still be the status quo with the relaunch. So it's actually the artist is going to be Ryan Otley, who's coming over from a long huge massive run on Invincible. So it'll be kind of interesting if like Spencer and this artist like maybe settle in on this book for a while and see what they do.
So this is definitely a read. This is definitely a buy.
This is a buy for you, okay?
Yeah.
All right. We're similar so far on the picks. Lastly, this is a sell for me, but Life of Captain Marvel #1, written by Margaret Stoll, pencils Carlos Pacheco. Yeah, I've never been a huge Captain Marvel fan.
Neither have I.
I read her book when it was Mrs. Marvel. But that was just when I was reading like everything Marvel did, like post Civil War, and I was just really, really into the entire line. But I have not really tried the book since she became Captain Marvel and got a haircut and blah blah blah.
Well, it's gonna be very interesting to see how they're gonna do this, just because of the fact that we are gonna have a Captain Marvel movie. Brie Olsen's gonna be Captain Marvel. So are they gonna try and start out from the beginning and do origins and kind of rebuild this character anew? Because that there leads a whole plethora of potential. She might become the new badass. Or are you going to go on with the stuff that's been going on, which honestly, since Civil War II, I want to punch her in the face.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a continuation of that. Although I guess the book is going to be touching on her origin and maybe doing some changes to her origin. But yeah, like I said,
they'll probably do that. If they do that, they'll probably do it so it matches along with the upcoming movie, because they did that with.
I'm sure that's what they're going for. Yeah,
because remember, Iron Man originally was Vietnam, wasn't it? Back in the 80s or like 70s.
Yeah.
Kong that got him.
I think so. Like the original.
Right. And now he went to Iraq or Afghanistan or somewhere like that.
Yeah. No, they always they update that.
Modernize it.
They've I don't know. This is just another character they're doing that for. And plus, like, Captain Marvel's origin is very like convoluted and it ties into the X-Men as well as the Kree, and I think they want to tie it in more to just like the Kree. So I don't know. Like I said, I kind of just don't care.
Pass.
So that's actually, and then we also have the Sentry. This was just announced like yesterday. like 2 other books were announced yesterday and today. The Century by Jeff Lemire, and then Deadpool by Scotty Young.
Deadpool, I'm excited for it. That I saw. Deadpool's gonna be flipping awesome.
The Century, see, I love Jeff Lemire. I just don't really care that much about the Century, so I might be interested in it.
I always thought the Century was a dumb character.
Yeah, he can be. He can be. I did like the Paul Jenkins miniseries from the early 2000s. But I don't. Even though Jeff's writing it, I don't even know. But I don't know. Well, it might be one that I see if it's good and wait for it in trade. And then Deadpool, I'm just not a Deadpool reader, so that's a pass for me.
Deadpool's fun for me. I always love him reading the issues and stuff because it's just a bunch of goofy, funny shit talking with a lot of explosions, bullet holes, blood, death, and murder.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Well,
can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, he's definitely not a popular character, so I'm sure the book will feel hard. All right. Moving on. Let's talk real quick what we've been playing this week. Let's make this short because we have a big comic to talk about.
We do.
Yeah. So what you been playing this week?
Assassin's Creed Origins.
Still on that tip? You still on that AC tip?
I am. I'm trying to finish up everything before the Pharaohs drops on the 16th, I believe, or the 13th.
Oh, okay. So you played the first expansion, right?
I did the hidden ones.
The hidden ones, which that opened up a new region, correct?
It did.
Nice. Yeah. I think I told you a while ago that I had played the game extensively, right up to the end, and I had left some open world activities still to do, and a decent amount of side missions and stuff. And I was so in love with the game, I just really didn't want it to be over with, so I kind of just stopped playing it and moved on, and I promised myself to come back to it. Which I still have yet to do, but with all this DLC dropping, I'll probably jump in. Actually, the reason I'll probably jump in is they've been doing those, or I think in March they're gonna be doing those. What are those boss events?
Oh, the trials.
Yeah, the trials that come in every so often.
So the way that it worked was every 2 weeks, I believe. Don't quote me on it. Might have been. It's actually probably 1 week on, 1 week off, 1 week on, 1 week off.
Yeah.
There's three trials. One is Sobek, which is the alligator.
It's like 3 different ones that they rotate
right.
through.
Anubis, Sobek, and I do not remember the cat's name.
Yeah. And so you can get different special gear by fighting them and so on and so forth.
And then actually if you beat all 3, you get another set of gear on top of it.
Okay, I think there's like one. I've definitely beat 2 of them, but I feel like when I played the first one, it might have glitched out on me because I didn't actually receive any rewards. So I don't know what was going on there. Let me ask you though about so it's raising the level cap, right?
So the first one raised the level cap to 45. This one's going to be 50 or 55. And we're getting 3 more additional skills to the skill tree.
Okay. Oh, wow. I was talking to Chris Williams about this last week, but what do you think of them kind of making this game as a service a little bit? Because they haven't really announced like a next game, and the CEO was talking about how he wants to stretch this game out.
I thought they did already announce the next one. I thought the next one's in China. I thought that was official.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty
sure. I haven't seen that. If that was some video game news I missed, then that was actually some video game news that I would care about.
Well, the lovely thing about this modern day and time, Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. Oh, that's
that's a handheld game.
Yeah. No, I've seen actually.
No. I think here's what it was. I think they were putting out a survey to see where people wanted the next game to take place. And surprise, surprise, I think what won big was feudal Japan.
Of course, I want my
Yeah.
samurai assassin.
So
Where's my
let me.
damn samurai assassin?
So so I assume you've played all the Assassin's Creed, right?
Yes, except for the one that was in between Unity and this one,
Oh,
the last one.
Syndicate.
Yeah, I didn't
You
play
didn't play
with the Pride
Syndicate? Yeah.
Blaze. I
Yeah,
didn't.
actually, you and a lot of people. I think that was definitely when there was some fatigue, some franchise fatigue. I think.
Well, it was the backlash from Unity
Yeah,
because Unity was so shitty. I mean, it's not now, which is really funny, by the way. If you play Unity now with all the patches and everything, so the game doesn't flip
yeah,
smoothly every time, it's a
they
great game. It's fun
they
to play.
fixed it, but yeah, the narrative at the beginning was this game is broken and it sucks for all these reasons, and uh, yeah, they definitely messed up on that game. I mean, I played a little bit of it after it, like a year after it came out or something, and honestly, I was like, I thought the combat was kind of weak, and I wasn't really digging Paris that much, so I was like, whatever.
Yeah, the
I don't
French
know.
Revolution was meh.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to it one of these days. But what's so? Would you say AC Origins is your favorite?
No. Black Flag still to this
Black
day
Flag
remains
still holds
my
the
favorite game.
candle. Okay.
hmm I don't know
Yeah.
what it was about that game. Maybe it was the transition from old system to new system, or graphics, or just how that game played. But I fell in love with it. I
Yeah, I
mean,
think after three, which was such a slog, it was just so freeing to just sail a ship and not have to worry about a convoluted story, and had just an awesome progression system. And oh god, it was just such a good game, man. Like,
and it was so much fun to go around in the Bahamas and the
oh yeah,
Caribbean.
just explore. Like it was
Right.
just amazing. Yeah, the hunting was great. It was awesome. That's still my favorite too, but Origins actually holds a close second
Oh,
because
yes,
I
I will
love
definitely.
Egypt in this game.
And I also love how they, finally kind of gave us an origin story um, for the assassins. And not only did they do that, but they tied it in so well to the first and second game. I don't know if you remember. I think it was Assassin's Creed 2, where Altair gets taken into the Chamber of Assassins, and then you actually see a statue of Amunet in there. Which
Oh, really? Oh, I don't remember that.
so you
Okay.
and they tied it in so well to this one because when you actually see Amunet become Amunet, which is Bayek's wife, her costume design is very, very similar, and they tied that in really, really well to the AC1 or AC2, whichever one that was.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, I haven't. I have not got to. I guess I haven't got to that point because I don't remember that.
oh no, you've got to beat the original game fully first, and then
Yeah.
there's a lot more of her in the Hidden Ones DLC.
Oh, okay.
The other thing that I really liked is they showed us the origin of the assassin symbol. How did that become a thing?
Oh.
They showed us why is it two assassins have their ring fingers cut off? Why are they only four fingered and not five fingered? And that's also a really cool thing. It's because of the hidden blade.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that.
Well, it was never touched on. We just assumed, but
Yeah.
Bayek was actually got that hidden blade from his wife, and he jumps in to kill the dude in the bathhouse and cuts his own finger off, not knowing. And it's like, oh, very cool.
Yeah. You'd think they could. You think they could work around that?
Well, yeah, I just feel like just tighten the spring a little bit until you completely flip the wrist up.
Yeah.
That's some.
Yeah.
But this is
Seriously.
Egypt we're talking about back in the day, so we can't exactly
Yeah.
hold them to today's.
Well, I'll say this about AC. I've talked a bunch about it, so I won't go into it exhaustively. But I really enjoy that game. I'm looking forward to getting back to it and playing the DLC. And I'd be fine if they took another year off, and maybe come back with another AC in like a couple years.
Feudal Japan.
Um,
Feudal Japan.
yeah, Feudal Japan would be awesome. Actually, one of the ideas was Britain in the time of King Arthur. That'd be pretty cool.
Man, go play.
I mean, hey, they're gonna do more than one
Go play
game.
For Honor.
No, they're gonna do more than one game. So, oh, did you hear For Honor got dedicated servers?
I did.
I might have to actually jump back into that game.
Oh, there's a lot of games I have to
I know there's a
definitely
lot
kind
of
of.
games.
Division is one of those games too that I've been kind of messing around in my head with.
Fine.
I enjoyed it back then, but there were
Mm-hmm.
very big issues. And from what I hear now, by either players that decided to stick around or players that have returned, or even new players, is that it is genuinely enjoyable content now, where you're not wanting to throw your controller against the wall after 10 minutes in the dark zone.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard good things, and it's retaining a player base. So, and they're still doing new stuff. So apparently, there's a community still there. Yeah, I guess For Honor has like 1 million people still playing every month, so that's pretty cool too. Because I love the concept of that game, and I love the uniqueness of the game. So I'm glad that it's staying around and they're supporting it. But just really quick, what I've been playing is still Horizon Zero Dawn. That's pretty much been the only game that I have been playing. It is it is a very big game, and I'm trying to do mostly everything.
Are you
So
going to try and platinum that too?
what's that?
Are you going to try and platinum it also? Because I know
Um,
you were trying to platinum Assassin's Creed.
yeah, yeah. You know what it is with these open world games that I just fall in love with the mechanics in the world. Like I do want to. If it's an achievable platinum, then yeah. I mean, I haven't looked through the trophy list, but I'm just excited to keep going through and exploring the entire world and doing the side quests and actually getting to the expansion content too, because that opens up a whole new area in the north. So
So
I'm still on that game pretty hard. Um,
what upcoming titles are you excited for then?
Actually, the one that I am excited for, I was actually thinking today. I was like, man, are there any games that I'm definitely gonna buy like day one when it comes out? And I think actually I think I'm gonna buy God of War next month when
Okay.
that comes out. I'm pretty excited for that one. That looks pretty fun.
I'm looking forward to and hoping that this happens this year because my choice in games tends to lead me down a very painful path because, as you know, Final Fantasy 15 was something that I looked forward to for so long, and then it kind of let me down.
Uh
And
huh.
I'm looking forward to Anthem, but I don't know if one, it's going to actually happen this year, or two,
Yeah.
they're going to pull it off because the specs and the way it looked at the reveal, fantastic. Now, are they going to follow through and make that actually a playable thing? I don't know because Division looked a certain way when they brought it out, and when I got my hands on it, it wasn't the thing that you showed me. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
for Anthem.
Everyone's excited for Anthem. I just feel like that game's not even coming out this year, and I don't know. I'm kind of gun shy with EA. So
Well, that's the other thing. They're super motivated about this game because if they fuck this up, they're fucked royally. Like this is
yeah.
their big ticket back to the main show. But if they screw this up, they've let so many people down that nobody wants to buy their junk anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm it's just one of those, I don't know. It's one of those things where I just can very easily like put that in a box and put it aside and just say like, you know what, if this is a big deal when it comes out and everyone's loving it, then I'll open that box at that point. But until then, I've got plenty of other games to focus on.
Well, it's definitely one of those games that you're going to need a community with, and it's like Destiny in that sense that if you do not have at least 5 other friends to play with you, you will not be able to enjoy the extent of the content.
Yeah,
And
well, it's March of 2018, and I don't think that game's coming out till 2019. So again, I'm not gonna worry about it. Um,
anything else on your list of?
Now let's keep the video game segment short this week because we got a comic that we both read.
Yes, we
At least
did.
we read most of the series because the last issue is not out yet, as far as I know. I have not received it.
It is not out yet.
Actually, it is not out. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Well, so I read a whole heaping load of metal this week. I think you did too, right?
Well, I mean, a little bit less than you did because I was somewhat more into the reading of it than you were.
As
I
it
was a
was
little
coming
farther
out.
along. Yeah, I was a little
Yes.
farther along.
So this is DC Comics' big event that is currently going on. I guess besides, in addition to Doomsday Clock, but this is their other big event.
Well, Doomsday is their overall. It's the annual overall story. This was
Yeah.
end of the year, beginning of the year blockbuster for them, so to speak. And
Okay.
it was that. It was a flippin' doozy. So many fun characters. So much good stuff.
All right. Well, let's jump into it. Let me ask you this, because if you look at the reading list, it is a lot of titles. There's a ton of one shots. There's a couple prequel issues, and then there's a 6-issue main series, and then there's a bunch of tie-ins like Teen Titans, I think Green Lantern, a bunch of other books I can't remember. But did you read all of those books, all the tie-ins?
No. I don't think I managed to get everything and all of it in. I know I got the main story in. I got all the one shots in for all my my Batmans.
Mm-hmm.
I got a few of the tie-ins in, but some tie-ins they're just they don't matter. Like they matter, but they don't matter.
Okay, so let's set the stage for this book a little bit for people that maybe haven't jumped into it. What is the general premise? Because as a not super hardcore DC fan, there are some things about this series that were kind of daunting for me, and there was some plot contrivances that I didn't fully grasp. So give me your take. Just if you could just give like an overview of the story, and set us up here.
So basically, what ends up happening is we are introduced to the dark multiverse. Think of it as the backside of the coin to our DC universe, where there is light, there must be dark. And we are introduced to these characters that all strangely look like Batman, but have some differences. One kind of looks like Flash. One kind of looks like a Green Lantern. One looks like a Doomsday. One looks like an Aqua Woman. One that strangely resembles the Joker.
Yeah. Now let me just stop you really quick before we get into the Dark Batman. Apparently, so the general premise of you're right. It is concerning this dark multiverse, that an older character that actually Grant Morrison used in his run quite a bit, named Barbaros, which is like this demon bat, and he's kind of like in this dark multiverse, and he's using Batman to basically open up a portal into the main DC universe, Earth Zero, and he's taken over a bunch of worlds through the dark multiverse, and that's where you get these different Batman, these twisted Batman, and that leads into all these one shots, because we have all the dark Batman, which are, what is there, 5 of them? 6 of them?
Murder Machine,
that was the Cyborg one. There's the Flash one. There's the
Murder Machine, Dawnbreaker,
the Green Lantern one. There's the Aqua. There's the Aquaman one.
There's 8 total.
Okay, yeah, because there's the Superman one, there's the Wonder Woman one, and then there is Batman. Yeah, the Man Who Laughs, who's kind of the quote unquote Batman one. But they're all versions kind of Bruce Wayne from different Earths, and they've become twisted by the dark multiverse and Barbaros, and I guess that's kind of like, that's a general like premise of the story, but it ties into the Hawkman mythos.
It ties a lot into the Batman, what's been going on with him overall. With
Scott Snyder's entire run, because he's kind of using this as like a big exclamation point on his New 52 Batman run. with the Court of Owls and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh my, what is it called when him and the Joker go at it? And
yeah, Death of the Family.
Yes.
Yeah. So, so this is Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's big, crazy exclamation point to their run. And I'll say this. The two prequel issues, The Forge and the Casting, honestly, there was a lot of exposition and there was a lot of stuff that I didn't really know what was going on that much. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't told in a way that it was very easy to know exactly what was going on. And I know there were setup issues, but it was. I would say I'll say this about those prequel issues and also the main series. Sometimes it is kind of hard to follow what exactly is happening, and a lot of that is due to Batman and the Justice League kind of being trapped in ostensibly their own nightmares. And a lot of it is you don't really know what's real and what's not. And a lot of the earlier issues in the book are kind of exposition heavy as well. So, and I'm talking about the main series here because I read just the tie-ins, just the Dark Knights, Batman, different tie-ins, and then the main series. So I got to tell you, the main series, it was a little convoluted, a little hard to follow. And I can't really say that I loved it. However, the one-shots, there were some great one-shots.
Yep.
And what was great about them was they were kind of just one-off stories showing how those versions of Batman became these dark multiverse twisted incarnations of Batman.
It was kind of like reading an Elseworld story,
Or are you talking about the one shots? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they were just contained stories. They tied into something, but they were just telling their own story, and there was no stakes, as in you didn't need to leave Bruce Wayne where you found him at the end of the day. This version of Bruce was changing irrevocably, so it was interesting, and there was some probably my favorite. Well, one of my favorites was the Red Death. Him taking over the Speed Force, mm-hmm. and because he wanted to save Gotham, and he was getting older, and so he wanted to tap into the Speed Force to be able to save Gotham. And when he did actually tap into the Speed Force, Bruce realized he could save the entire world, which kind of corrupted the world, but that world was ending anyways, and he was given a choice by I don't know. Would you say the Man Who Laughs, that version of Batman? He's kind of like Barbarossa's I guess main man,
right hand man.
Yeah, he's his right hand man. So Barbarossa's sending the Man Who Laughs, the Jokerized Batman, into each of these worlds to kind of recruit these dark Batmen. So he'll show up he shows up basically at the end of each issue and gets them to come into the fight with him. But overall, the stories are, they're self-contained, and overall, they were great reads. What was your favorite one?
My favorite's still got to be the Green Lantern. That just the fact that we all knew, and this goes back to Brightest Night and
Brightest Day,
or Brightest Day and Darkest Night, and those runs from the Green Lantern, when you actually did have Batman pick up the Green Lantern ring.
Oh yeah,
we got to see how much he has. What is it called? How much? Oh my God, my English flew out my Russian brain here. How much willpower?
Oh yeah.
And then to watch him in this moment when the ring decides to leave him and he goes, come back now.
Yeah.
Just shows you how much will and fortitude has. It speaks volumes to Batman as a whole as a character, which I thought was really, really epic. And the fact that he then overpowers it and makes the ring be able to kill. that's insane to me because
Yeah, I know his willpower was so great that he like overrode the ring's like command protocol, and
it's great. It's just like
yeah,
whoa.
yeah, that was cool. That was a good one. Yeah, my old buddy Sam wrote that one. Another favorite of mine was the Devastator, which was a Batman on an Earth which was basically taken over by a tyrannical Superman. And Batman enacts the Doomsday Protocol, which he basically like infects himself with a Doomsday virus and becomes like a Bat Doomsday and kills Superman. But Superman had already killed Lois, and he basically kind of destroyed that world, and the world was about to end anyways. So he comes over into our world and actually infects a bunch of people with the Doomsday virus as well. Which I'm wondering if they're going to follow up on that in the future, because that's an interesting place to go in Superman.
It would have to be. It would not be on the main Earth or main universe. It would have to be in one of the other universes. I don't think they'll push that as. Well, I mean, I guess they could.
Well, yeah, I don't know. The thing is, too, is with Bendis coming in and taking over the Superman titles, who knows if he'll follow up on that.
Yeah. So we're still technically waiting on the culmination of this because.
Oh, actually, you know what? Oh, hold on. Yeah. Speaking of that, just real quick. Isn't Scott Snyder's doing that weekly series after this event is over? Where I think it's called No Justice, where he's going to set up like the status quo of the Justice League and some other characters.
Mm-hmm.
So he may actually deal with that in that book.
That's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I still want to see how this all concludes too, because this is it has to blow up somehow.
Yeah. So I think we could both agree that we enjoyed the one shots. The Dark Knights, Batman one shots, but I want to know like what you kind of thought of the main series. Like, what was your take on it?
The main part of the series, I do understand what you're talking about, and I think my problem with it was the metals, the actual metals. The nth metal, the Dionysium, the all the other things that Batman had to come into contact with so that he could be transported into the dark multiverse, and everybody else got to escape out.
I
know that this metal stuff has kind of been touched on over the course of, I don't know, the existence of DC, I guess you can say. But I would have loved them to maybe set that up a little bit differently. Maybe not, be like, well, you're supposed to know this, and this is what's going to happen. Maybe kind of give us a little bit more of a...
Yeah. Well, I feel like they were trying to do that a little bit in the prequel books, but again, it was very convoluted. It was very it felt very overstuffed to me. It jumped around a lot, and I just felt like you had to have a really deep knowledge of the DC universe to really follow what was going along.
Well, here's the other thing with books like this, or not books, but like series like this, I feel like they need you to read them more than once.
Yeah, you're probably right.
One of these, because it's 20. I'm counting right now. It's 22 issues, including all the tie-ins and stuff. So even if I did read, say, the first 6 issues, I might not be getting to the other 6 issues for a couple of days or so, and a lot of the info doesn't stay fresh.
Yeah,
there is a lot of stuff to marinate and process here. So yeah, I think maybe the first go through will be tough, but I think if once I get everything as a whole, then sit through it and read it all the way through perfectly, I think I'm gonna be able to get all the gists of it and not really get bogged down by the logistical crap.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was going to say this may be a good book to read with Snyder's Batman run, and that's definitely a series that I'm going to go back to in upcoming years. So I probably will end up getting this in a collection.
Not only when you're talking about Snyder's run, are you talking about the whole thing, or are you talking about something specific?
Well, I mean, I would probably go back and just reread the entire run.
Mm-hmm.
I have it, so I'd probably go back and reread the whole thing and then just kind of end with this. Because there was enough in here that I did enjoy, and I was like, I mean, it wasn't that I hated the series. It was just like I felt like on the first read it was a little tough to follow, and I kind of I think you're right. If I go back, it's going to be a different read on the second reread for sure.
The other thing though that kind of did tick me off or bother me is Hawkman and Hawkgirl. I feel like
Yeah.
whenever any of these, how can I say it, intergalactic multiverse stories happen, these two are brought in as the like linchpin.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but a majority of the time, and I'm kind of sick and tired of it. I mean, I feel like I've seen this before.
Yeah, I can't think of a specific instance, and I know this sounds bad because it's not really proving the point, but I kind of know what you mean, and it does seem like they're less of characters than they are plot devices sometimes.
And they're just also not enjoyable. Like I get it. You guys die, you come back to life, you find each
Yeah.
other, you die again.
Well, I
Cool.
think I don't know. I'm of the opinion that Hawkman could be a cool character if he was done right. Like I think Jason Aaron would write an awesome, like kick-ass Hawkman series if he had the chance. I'm just imagining like Jason Aaron doing this story of like Hawkman in the past, like as a badass warrior. I'm kind of thinking of it more of a like from that angle, maybe not so much like in the present day.
Or you
But
can
I think there's
also
potential with the character. I just don't feel like we've seen that potential realized lately.
I actually think that out of that whole Hawkgirl Hawkman situation, the coolest character I've seen come out of it, and this character's only been shown once or twice, and I don't know if it actually made it into the comic books or this is just an animation situation.
Uh-huh.
But in the future, and I think this was done on Batman Beyond and on Justice League, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on it. Bats goes into the future and meets Green Lantern's and Hawkgirl's son, who is the new Hawkman. And I forget
Oh,
who's what's the name of the black Green Lantern? What's his name?
John Stewart.
Yeah, John Stewart and Kendra Hall's baby.
Oh
And he's
wow.
like this badass, like I got a chip on my shoulder, potty mouth, like
Mm-hmm.
angry, this really dope ass Hawkman outfit. And instead of these weird I don't like the character design of Hawkman and Hawkgirl.
Hmm. All right. Well, I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from, but I think there's potential in the character. Speaking of that, actually, one of the biggest misses, and it's funny because I really like the writer, I really like the artist, but it was that Hawkman Found comic. I don't know, like maybe I wasn't reading it right, but I was just like I was reading it, and it obviously like introduces Carter Hall, who's like kind of stuck in this like prison, I guess, and he's like trying to escape, and like he escapes, and he basically becomes like the bit like he just like you turn the page and he's the villain like with no explanation. He's the
Right.
villain that Batman and Superman are basically like facing off with in the Dark Multiverse, like in the later Metal issues. And I like the issue of him like getting out of the pit and everything, but I just didn't like. It just ended so abruptly. It just kind of didn't work for me. I was like, wait, did I miss something?
Yeah, yeah.
Did
I
you read
mean,
that? You read that issue, right?
I did, and that's the thing. There are holes, but it could also still be tied in all at the end. Like
Yeah, it's
we're
true. I
still
mean,
missing a big chunk of what the hell is going to happen now.
yeah, we have one issue left. So we read everything up to issue 5 of Metal. So we have one issue left of Metal, and who knows, maybe we'll try to jam in a few other tie-ins, but we basically have one issue left. So
Yeah.
um
Well, I
hey,
figure it's going to be the one issue, and then like an epilogue kind of situation. I feel like they're going to do like what happened after Metal.
yeah, well, I think that's going to be that No Justice series probably.
Maybe.
Yeah. But all right. Well, you know what? Ilya, it was great having you on. I would love to maybe have you on in the near future, and we could talk about issue 6 of Metal, just as a quick thing, and just see how we thought of the last issue, and I guess the series as a whole, just in light of the last issue.
Right. See if the holes get patched, and if it does actually come out great, because the ending is going to be the big thing here. It will either make or break it. So
I'll say this about the series: the first issues were very, very exposition heavy, very they felt kind of overstuffed. I felt like as the ball got rolling, things started to get streamlined a little bit. So I'm really hoping this last issue will kind of coalesce everything and put a nice bow on it.
I fully agree with you. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Because we like them bows, those pretty bows. All right, you Russian bastard. I'll unleash you to get to the bar. All right. Well, I want to thank Ilya for being on. If you want more of the show and to see past episodes and follow us on Twitter and Instagram and all that good stuff, you can go to pixelsandpanelspodcast.com and check us out there. If you want to email in a question or topic, you can do so there. So check us out at pixelsandpanels.com. Once again, thank you, Ilya, for coming on. Actually, really enjoyed it. I want you to come back on, man.
I will. I had a great time. Thank you for having me. This is a nice place to use all my nerdy knowledge, and I feel like I actually didn't waste hours and days of my life reading and watching these things.
Yeah, I know. It's a great excuse actually just to come on and be on the show and just bullshit with your friends about comics. Just a great excuse to just catch up on comics, like catch up on a series or something.
This is very true.
Yes.
And nothing like good discourse. Good discourse leads to good thinking. So.
Oh yes. All right, man. Well, thanks again for being on, and we'll see you next time.